Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we are diving into one of the darkest true crime stories in American history. Our subject is Jeffrey Dahmer, the man the world would come to know as the Milwaukee Butcher. This is not a fictional horror story. Every major event you are about to hear is based on documented investigations, court records, and witness testimony. Some details have been softened for storytelling, but the horror of what happened remains very real. So, dim the lights, settle in, and prepare yourself for a disturbing journey into the mind of one of America's most infamous serial killers. Jeffrey Dahmer was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but spent much of his childhood in Ohio. To the people around him, he seemed quiet, awkward, and painfully shy. Teachers remembered a lonely student who rarely spoke. Neighbors saw an ordinary teenage boy. Nobody imagined that behind his blank expression, disturbing fantasies were slowly taking shape. As a child, Dahmer developed a strange fascination with dead animals. He collected bones, examined animal carcasses, and became obsessed with what happened beneath the skin. While many children are curious, his interests grew darker as he got older. Instead of fading away, they became part of his identity. His family life was falling apart. Constant arguments filled the house. Eventually, his parents separated, leaving him isolated during one of the most important periods of his life. Friends drifted away. Alcohol became his escape. Long before graduating from high school, he was already drinking heavily, almost every day. Then came the moment that changed countless lives forever. Not long after graduating, Dahmer encountered a young hitchhiker. The meeting appeared ordinary, but it ended in tragedy. This first murder awakened something inside him that would continue to grow for years. Instead of turning himself in or seeking help, he buried the evidence and continued living as though nothing had happened. Years passed before he killed again, but when the violence returned, it became increasingly frequent. During the late 1980s and the early 1990s, young men began disappearing from the streets of Milwaukee. Many of them were vulnerable. Some had recently moved to the city. Others had difficult lives, and few people immediately noticed they were missing. Dahmer often appeared friendly and harmless. He approached strangers with polite conversation and offered money in exchange for simple modeling photographs or company. His calm personality lowered people's defenses. Once they entered his apartment, many never walked back out. What made Jeffrey Dahmer especially terrifying was not rage or explosive violence. Witnesses and investigators described him as calm, quiet, and almost emotionless. He lived an ordinary life on the outside while hiding unimaginable crimes behind the walls of a small apartment. Neighbors frequently complained about terrible smells coming from his home. Dahmer offered simple excuses, claiming spoiled meat or broken appliances were responsible. The explanation sounded believable enough that no one realized the horrifying truth, hidden only a few feet away. One of the most chilling moments in this entire case happened when a young victim managed to escape from Dahmer's apartment. Confused and frightened, he was found by nearby residents, who immediately contacted police. When officers arrived, Dahmer calmly convinced them that the young man was simply his intoxicated partner and that everything was under control. Tragically, the officers believed him. The victim was returned to Dahmer's apartment. That decision became one of the most devastating mistakes in American policing. The young man did not survive. As investigators later uncovered the truth, many people wondered the same thing. How could such horror remain hidden for so long? The answer was unsettling. Jeffrey Dahmer looked ordinary. He spoke politely. He rarely attracted attention. The monster people imagined simply did not match the man standing in front of them. Everything finally collapsed when another intended victim escaped and flagged down police. This time, officers entered Dahmer's apartment. What they discovered would shock even experienced detectives. Inside were photographs documenting his crimes. Investigators found evidence confirming that numerous victims had died inside the apartment. Every room became part of one of the largest crime scene investigations in Wisconsin history. Police officers later admitted that nothing in their careers had prepared them for what they witnessed inside those walls. News spread rapidly across America. The quiet apartment building became the center of worldwide attention. Television crews surrounded the neighborhood. Families desperately searched victim lists, hoping they would not find the names of loved ones. During questioning, Dahmer confessed in remarkable detail. Detectives were stunned by how calmly he described years of murder. There was little emotion in his voice. He answered questions almost as if he were discussing someone else's life. Psychologists spent countless hours trying to understand his mind. Was he insane? Was he fully aware of his actions? Could someone like Jeffrey Dahmer ever truly be explained? Even today, experts continue debating those questions. While mental illness played a role in discussions surrounding the case, the courts determined that he understood the difference between right and wrong and held him criminally responsible for his actions. He was ultimately convicted of multiple murders and sentenced to spend the rest of his life behind bars without the possibility of freedom. But even prison did not mark the end of his story. While serving his sentence, Jeffrey Dahmer was attacked by another inmate. He later died from those injuries, bringing an end to one of the darkest criminal chapters in American history. Yet his death did not erase the pain left behind. The victims were more than names in a case file. They were sons, brothers, friends, young people whose futures were stolen forever. Perhaps the most frightening lesson from the Jeffrey Dahmer case is not simply the violence itself. It is the reminder that true evil does not always announce its arrival. Sometimes it wears ordinary clothes. Sometimes it smiles politely. Sometimes it lives quietly next door. And sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones nobody notices until it is far too late. Jeffrey Dahmer remains one of the most studied serial killers in history, not because he deserves fascination, but because understanding cases like this may help society recognize warning signs, improve investigations, and remember the innocent lives that were lost. Thank you for listening. If you found this documentary-style story informative, stay with us for more true crime cases, mysterious investigations, and real stories that reveal the darkest corners of human nature. Until next time, stay safe. And thank you for listening.